Qualitative research can be explained as a process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting data that doesn't include numbers. This can include behavior, language, and ethnicity. It's mainly used to understand how the individual subjectively perceived and give meaning to social reality. Forms of data can be collected are text, videos, photographs, or other recording. This type of data can be collected using diary accounts or in-depth interview, and it can be analyzed in the grounded theory or ethnography. According to Scott Reeves, in 2013, the main method of data collection for ethnography are through non-numerical recorded data. This includes interviews, documentaries, and observations, which are triangulated. Ethnographic research offers a qualitative approach to the potential to yield detailed and comprehensive account of different social phenomena, such as action, behavior, interactions, and beliefs. According to Stephanie Glenn in 2018, grounded theory provides qualitative research with guidelines for collecting and analyzing data. However, there's many different versions of grounded theories. Some of them are coding, labeling, and categorizing from collected data instead of relying on theories not grounded in data. Social processes are discovered in data. Abstract categories are constructed individually. Categories are refined using theoretical sampling. The gap between coding and writing is bridged with analytical memos. Categories are integrated into a theoretical framework. The difference between the two is that ethnography relies on analyzing data that have been collected already, and compare that to the grounded theory, it analyzes the data as it being collected. According to Albine-Moser, while not limited to it, grounded theories predominantly relies on qualitative research in order to obtain the data. Although grounded theories have limited amount of sampling methods, ethnography is able to choose from an array of sampling methods in order to fit the research better. Some of the methods included are purpose sampling, a selection of participants based on a research judgment about what potential participants will be most informative. Criterion sampling, selection of participants who meets predetermined criteria of importance. Theoretical sampling, selection of participants based on emerging findings to ensure adequate representation of theoretical concept. In ethnography, data collection ends when the resources have been exhausted, meaning that no new information or useful can be drawn out from the resource, which results in withdrawal from the field. This is due to the presence of the researcher that may affect the participant. The term of data saturation for grounded theory is called theoretical saturation. Theoretical saturation of data means that researchers reach a point in their analysis of data that sampling more data will not lead to more information related to the research question. In grounded theory-based analysis, the researcher generally analyzes the data as follows: finding repeating themes throughout reviewing data, coding the emergent themes with keywords and phrases, grouping the codes into concept and hierarchy, and then categorizing the concept through relationship identification. Finally, the categories created in this process, as well as the link found between them, are used as the basis for development of a new theory. Comparing that to analyze the ethnography data, the collected data will be summarized, presented, and concluded in order to make new recommendations. The best way to think about analysis for practical social research is to move backwards from the final use of the material through the stages of categorization and dissection. In short, trustworthiness can be described as the way qualitative researchers can ensure that trustability, credibility, dependability, and confirmability are evident in the research. Credibility and internal credibility are also important. In ethnography, the trustworthiness of which depends on what we believe is true and how relevant the description is. And for grounded theory is when the person reading about the experience can recognize it as their own. Trustability in qualitative research is synonymous with being generalized In qualitative research, trustability is established by providing readers with evidence that the research study's finding could not be applicable to other contexts, situations, times, and populations. The researchers cannot provide that it's applicable to be transferred, but must find example where these studies can be applied. In order to present ethnography, the researchers must observe the culture in a detached and value-free way and write up the facts of the culture in a third-person point of view. Participations in the study are not invited to influence the findings that remain the remit of the researcher. Compare that to grounded theory. Throughout the research documents ideas and hypotheses as theoretical memoirs that helps to build relationship between cores and facilitate the identification of the conditions, actions, and interactions and consequences of the social process under investigation. Relationships between abstracted cores are identified to create explanatory matrix or models, and the writing up of this constitute a substantive theory. Substance. For ethnography, one of the examples was a case study used to explore physiotherapists' perception of how different types of interactions with patients on a chronic pain unit influence the achievement of the own patient's goal. The data included observations of interaction between therapists and patients. Follow-up interviews were also applied in the research method. This methodology allowed the researchers to freely write up and collect the data in a third-person point of view without any influence. In conclusion, the two methodologies are both used in qualitative research, a research that is used to collect and analyzes non-numerical data. However, the sampling method, data analysis, data collection, finding, trustworthiness, and trustability are very different from one another. Grounded theory collects and analyzes the data as the research goes on in order to develop new theory. However, with ethnography, the data being interviewed or observed is collected, then analyzed from third-person point of view. With grounded theory, data saturation comes to an end when the emerging patterns are saturated, while ethnography, it ends when the data is exhausted.